How awesome was that, Joe?
You know, it's just like you said, you know, you're pinching yourself. You can't believe it. I mean, here's the thing about this game. There was never a moment in this game where I felt the Jets were not winning this football game. I mean, this was total, utter domination. Yeah, they had the ball all night long. You know, even when Zerline missed the field goal at halftime, I didn't care. I mean, seriously. I mean, they're up 14-3. I'm like, it doesn't really matter. You know, if he's going to miss a field goal, this was the time to do it. And I mean, you know, so that's how confident I was just watching this quarterback. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. You know, we haven't seen. I'm trying to think the last time that I seen quarterback play like this. And forget Ryan Fitzpatrick or, you know, Sanchez. And I love Sanchez, but, you know, even Pennington, you know, even Vinny. I mean, this guy just dissects the defense. I mean, the quick throws, everybody's involved offensively. Now he's getting out of the pocket a little bit. He had a couple nice runs, you know, first down runs, you know, and all of that. I mean, showing a little mobility. He's changed everything, bro. I mean, let's be honest. I think he's changed everything.
The biggest thing that you said there that I don't think I was expecting was how comfortable he looked running.
Yeah.
And then he was able to do it and then I don't know, fake the defense out that he was actually going to try to run for first downs and then find somebody behind him. Right? That's vintage Aaron Rodgers. The only thing you worry about is him taking hits. Like that one late hit out of bounds, it really wasn't. It was a clean hit, but whatever.
Right.
As soon as that defender goes down on the back of his legs, I'm like, get your feet up, right? Just get down. Don't try to run out of that because that's how you get hurt. And they mentioned it on the broadcast. I mean, I don't usually love that broadcast, but they actually had some good points. We're talking about 40-year-old men like your age, Evan, running around with your kids, and you just fall on the ground. It hurts, man.
Yeah, dude, running hurts me at this point now.
But you imagine running and falling on the ground at 40 years old, and then like how you feel afterwards? Yeah. He's probably sore today just from some of those hits, but that was really the surprise for me, that he was okay running and that he took some hits and he seemed all right.
Let me just tell you, as a 71-year-old man next week, if I fall down, I need a crane to get up. I got to tell you right now. But look, I mean, it was such utter domination. I mean, I look at this offense now. You got these two monsters running the ball. This kid Braylon Allen, what a steal in the fourth round he was. I mean, he's tremendous. You know, you got Breece there. It's amazing how Alan Lazard, okay, who was a disaster last year, now that his buddy's back throwing him the football, is a different receiver. You know, you saw Tyler Conklin have a big game last night. Mike Williams got involved with a few catches in the game as well. Almost caught that touchdown in the back of the end zone, was close. And on the touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson, you know, he wasn't open at all. And Rodgers, he was going to make sure he got a touchdown last night, and he forced it in there, and you couldn't make a better throw than that.
Perfect, right?
It's just amazing.
Dude,
it really is.
I mean, you tell me with Namath, but there's no quarterback I've watched as a Jet fan that's nearly as good as this guy. It's not even on the same planet.
It was the style of ball. Like some guys would try to throw that ball down low where only he could get it, and if it's defended, it's just going to be knocked down. That ball was like rising. So it was rising away from the defender who was diving away from it, and Garrett just made a great catch and awareness to get both his feet in and the ball across the goal line. So, I mean, that's what you get with Aaron Rodgers. Like the perfect ball for each throw is thrown. Because he's done it so many times that he knows exactly what to do in those situations.
You know, and when you talk about Namath, I mean, it was such a different game back in the 60s. You know, Joe was looking to throw the ball down the field all the time. You know, he was looking for big plays most of the time. It's not what you see from this guy. Right. You know, and Namath had the quick release too, but it's these quick short passes, you know, 2nd and 16. Oh, let me hit Conklin for 22. You know what I mean? I mean, just finding these guys. I mean, it's unbelievable. We haven't seen quarterback, like you said. We've never seen quarterback play like this.
And you mentioned this, and it was the thing that, the two guys on the other side like to try to bust my balls and all our balls about because they hate the Jets. You know, Sean and Loogie, they're great guys, but they hate the Jets. By the way,
Sean, I got a couple bags for you from years gone by if you need them. I got a few bags.
Dude, I might need them. It's a long season, Joe. It's a long season of that number 1 overall pick.
That's true. And on Monday, they were kind of looking at Rodgers saying, look at the way he moved. He looked old. He looked like a statue. And my answer was, you're right, but he may not need to. You know, if this offensive line is going to pass protect for him, he is 40 years old. it's okay. 3.5 days later, Joe, he was moving like it was 5 years ago. I don't want to say 10 years ago, but like 5 years ago. That was probably one of the most encouraging things, that he looked spry. He's moving. He's rushing for a few yards when he needs to. He's buying himself extra time. Like, I was almost surprised to see that that soon after he did look like a statue in week 2.
Yeah. Hey, look. He's changed everything. I mean, what else can you say? The only negatives I got from, we'll get to the defense in a second. The only negatives last night, Tim, there was too many penalties, especially by the defense. And we saw it again with these near delay game penalties. I mean, we saw it in the Tennessee game. They burned 2 penalties in the fourth quarter. Yesterday was in the third quarter that they burned 2 of those. They got to get that straightened out because, they've been lucky that it hasn't really mattered in these 2 games. Yeah. But, it's going to come back to bite them if they don't get that straightened out down the road. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's just Nate and Aaron getting used to one another again. I mean, week 1 was different, but this week felt like they were clicking and they wanted to be perfect. Right? They called the right plays for every situation. And so sometimes you get a little too deep in your playbook. You're like, hey, what are we doing now? And all of a sudden you get down on the play clock and Aaron Rodgers has to call a timeout. But I didn't mind it, because just like what you said at the end of halftime, or right before the end of the first half, they were so in control. It's a mistake you can make and get away with.
Yeah, with the missed field goal.
Right.
Yeah, there's no question. And here's the thing I love, as far as the defense goes, they were blitzing, bro. This is the first time that I can remember since Salah's been the coach that they blitzed a lot in this game. You saw Chuck Carr blitz a lot, Quincy Williams. I mean, they assaulted Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, yeah.
He had no chance.
And it was right
it's what you have to do when you have such a young offensive line.
Right.
And we saw right from the beginning, first play of the game, Will McDonald is right in his face. How about Will McDonald?
Unbelievable.
I mean,
maybe it's okay he's wearing Gastineau's number. I don't know, but he's got 5.5 sacks already. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm going to tell you this, too. I don't know how you feel, but the better that this team goes, and look, they should beat Denver in a couple of weeks. I think the Minnesota game is going to be a difficult game in London, but they should beat the Broncos and be 3-1 going to London. Do we really need Haason Reddick? I don't know. I don't know if he's ever playing here.
I mean,
do you think he's playing, Teak? I don't know.
I don't. I don't think this is going to. It's an impasse that's not going to be solved easily. And so the more I keep hearing about this, it's more trade. It's the trade.
That's unbelievable.
Is that what you're hearing? You're hearing trade, right?
But the challenge with that, Joe, is who's going to want him and then pay him?
Right. That's it.
He's not going to have any value.
He's put himself in a terrible position.
It's the same thing that the Jets, like wherever he goes next, they're going to have the same conversations that he's having with the Jets.
You know what? Like this past week, obviously last night, we didn't need him. We never thought about him. It was like he's an afterthought. After Sunday's game, it was like, boy, they could use him, especially after Jermaine Johnson went down. I almost think their best course of action is to just wait. And eventually, he's going to have to want to play.
Well, yeah.
He's just going to sit out the entire season. And by the way, him walking through that door week 10, week 11, can't hurt, bro.
Right.
Like, even if he's not on the field for, 50 snaps, it wouldn't hurt to have him. And you have to think eventually he's going to realize, I got to play football. What the hell am I going to do?
Yeah. He owes a lot of money to somebody. I mean, he's getting $800,000 a game now in the regular season that he's getting fined with all the money in the preseason.
Well, yeah. Well, the $800,000 is just he's not getting a salary, so it's technically a fine. But he's got all the preseason fine for not reporting, and then I'm sure there's some fine as well in the regular season. But I also, and Sean's looking this up, I feel like there's a date that you have to report.
Yeah, well,
is that true?
If you don't, the year doesn't count, and you're still under contract next year for the same deal.
Yes.
So then
is that how it works?
So what does he get? He has to come back next year. We deal with the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think there's a week. So honestly, it's probably going to be whatever week that is. Because I don't think they're getting a deal done.
No, it doesn't seem that way. And the other thing, too, from last night, the injury to Morgan Moses. I mean, he did walk off the field, which was a good sign. I thought something. I don't know how you feel about this, Ev, but in the pregame introductions, and obviously Rodgers gets, got the bulk of it.
Of course.
Wilson, Brees. I thought Tyron Smith got one of the biggest ovations of anybody out there. And I'll tell you right now that this guy, you talk about a guy that's got to stay healthy. This is the best. It's only 3 games. This is the best left tackle we've seen since the Brickashaw.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about this. Right. This guy's big time. You talk about a guy that's important to this team that's got to stay healthy, man. That's Tyron Smith.
Well, I think that, and obviously with Morgan out, it looks like Morgan Moses is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Luckily, it doesn't seem that
not
severe.
Season ending.
And you're right about Tyron Smith. I agree. I think Aaron Rodgers clearly got the biggest hand, but I think we as Jet fans realize the importance of protecting him.
Yeah.
Last night with Morgan going down, because when he goes down at first, I couldn't tell who it was. So my thought was, holy crap, did Tyron Smith go down?
I knew it wasn't him. Where I was, I could see I could see the number. It wasn't him.
You were sitting in some badass seats, right?
Look, I got to thank Sean Winters and the Winters Bros. He invites me like once a year. I take my grandson. I'm sitting, bro. My grandson, he's going to be, was he 11, 12, whatever he is, right? He's 11. He's in 6th grade. Right. I've taken him to 2 games. Mm-hmm. Both of them sitting in the front row, okay, in the coaches club, no less Teak, where you can go in and get all the food you want for nothing.
So he's like he's loving life.
And the 2 games he's seen Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on,
not bad,
right? I mean, how much better can you do? Right?
Now I'm curious because now since you were sitting in these like really really high end seats, did you have to be calm throughout the game, or were you allowed to be you?
Oh, I wasn't calm.
Good.
But you know what? I was yelling for the defense and yelling to Aaron, let's go. Right. But I mean, it was such a domination in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, this game it was 24-3. It could have been 40-0.
Right.
I was talking to Ira. Just got off the phone with Ira in Staten Island.
Right.
And the last time, you were at this game too, Ev.
Yep.
The last time that there was a game like this for the Jets where it was in the bag right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Was the night against the Bengals, the last game in Giant Stadium, freezing cold. Maybe the coldest game I've ever been at.
Yep.
And they beat them 41-0, and it was just a party the whole night.
It's funny. I was with the exact same friend who I was with that night. My friend
Is that right? Little warming up. Little nicer weather last night. A little bit.
I know, because the thing he used to tell me about that night is he went to the bathroom and would just hang out because it was the warmest place in the stadium.
How cold was it that night, bro?
Bro, it was brutal, but it was a party, like you said. And last night, now maybe it's different because you're with your grandson. I totally get it. I didn't want to leave. I didn't care how late it was. I'm like, I'm enjoying every second of this because it was just one giant ass whooping of a team that's owned us for such a long time. It's like I couldn't get enough of it. It was amazing.
We left with about 4.5 minutes to go. The game was in the bag. In the bag, he was fading at that point.
No, I get that. Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I sit there, I watch this quarterback, and I'm just amazed at how good he is. It's really incredible.
One thing though, because we were talking about Morgan Moses going down and Tyron Smith, I think that last night was just a reminder that the drafting of Olu Fashanu was damn important. I know that. First few weeks we barely see him, but he is going to be such an important piece on this team because it's impossible to think everyone's going to stay healthy for a full season.
Yeah. And how bad are the Patriots? How did the Patriots beat the Bengals and almost beat Seattle last week, taking them to overtime? I mean, they looked just hideous last night.
I think it was the injuries to the offensive line.
You think that was it?
Because think about it, like that game, it felt there was pressure from play one. And Jacoby Brissett ultimately just had no shot.
No shot.
They weren't not that they necessarily have been pushing the ball down the field, but it wasn't even an option because every time he did, he got sacked. So I think honestly, when you have a beat up offensive line and you got a bunch of young players in there, it just gets really hard to function. You just can't do what you did previous seasons. But I think it's Aaron Rodgers, right?
Oh, yeah, really.
He just picked apart.
Picked them apart.
Like no matter what they did, he had an answer. He knew exactly where to put the ball with every single throw that he made. And when you play a great one, sometimes you just get got, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Another thing I want to throw in there, and I hate to bring this up, but I didn't even know this happened. I didn't know this until I'm driving home, listening to the post-game show, and then read some of the stuff in the paper today. Mm-hmm. What was this thing with Salah and Rodgers on the sideline? I mean, what Tiki, you watching the game at home. Did you even see this?
I didn't see it. The only reason I must have left because it happened after the touchdown. So whatever touchdown scored, I get up and go do something.
It made it 14-0. Right.
And then social media is where I found it.
Yeah, it exploded on Twitter.
The Mets chat actually, I think, sent it.
Yes, that's right.
And so I get this image, and it's just kind of like, is he like not accepting a hug from Robert Saleh?
What was it?
So I think it was more that, first of all, I don't think it's Aaron. That's just not his MO.
Right.
And also, I felt like he was saying, the game's not over. Like, chill out. But what he ultimately was saying, and this is what Robert Saleh corroborated.
Both Rodgers and Saleh said this, yes.
Before the game, they said, Aaron, get us 2-touchdown lead. Our defense will take care of everything else. So what I think he said, and this is what we speculated about to start the show, was that's 2 scores. 2 scores for you. 2-touchdown lead or 2-score lead or whatever it was. And it was kind of just like that aggressive, we got you, you got us type of thing.
Right. Now, Sean thinks it's the end of the world, that Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers hate each other, and that's going to be our doom.
Well, that's what he wants.
No. It's not the end of the world.
No, I know. That's what it's fan fiction. Yeah.
But here's something else, too. And I don't want to mention any of the name. I know a lot of these writers, these guys have been covering the Jets forever.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm friends with some of these guys. And let's be honest. Any controversy that they can come up with this team, they're going to find a way to do it. I really believe that. I mean, some of these guys have been covering this team too freaking long. Okay? And I don't know if they would really ever want to see him win.
Well,
and I really believe that, bro.
I'll tell you one thing I believe, and I think this is the Knicks. I think the Knicks have this. I think the Jets have this, and the Mets have this. So you have it fully. I have it, 2/3.
Right.
I think that the national media wants to laugh at those teams. They want to say, LOL Jets. Oh, so Jets. And like
same old Jets.
Same old Knicks. They're so stupid. Meanwhile, the Knicks are a competent franchise. You just have to deal with it. I'm dealing with it. They are. The Jets look for now to be a competent franchise. And so I think sometimes
and the baseball team, I mean, oh my God, bro.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. You and I right now, we're living large.
I know.
Okay, this is large living between the baseball team and the football team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Are you worried about Lindor, by the way, though?
Not the way Acuna's playing. I mean, how about this guy, bro? I mean, I'm looking at this guy every game. He's doing something. He tripled last night. He's at 2 homers already. I mean, he's getting big hits all over the place. He's playing shortstop base. He had that one error on that throw that Vientos threw to him. I guess it was in one of the Washington games.
Yeah, but you know what was great about that?
Didn't even matter.
He made that error, and I was concerned. Like, I was at the game that night, and I'm like, oh, God, this is where we're going to miss Lindor.
Right.
The very next inning, down 1-0, he ripped up a double. That kind of – yeah. So it was almost like – I thought that showed a lot of poise. Makes a big error in a pennant race, responded, had 3 hits in the game, and like you said, he's hitting the cover off the ball. It looks amazing.
Yeah, he's got to be on this team. I mean, he's here. I mean, we got to find a way. Where's he going to be playing? I don't know. Where's he going to play? I mean, you got to play Iglesias. If Lindor comes back, Iglesias has to play. He's been just too huge for this baseball team. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Acuna's got to play, though.
Well,
where?
I think that right now there are 2 interesting options. Number one,
center field?
I think you DH somebody because J.D. Martinez is not hitting. And he may lose that.
He's not at all hitting.
He may lose that job. Now, I don't know. Here's what I'm curious about with a back. So someone's got to ask Mendy this, really Lindor this. If Lindor comes back, does it benefit him to just DH? Like, all right,
maybe.
You know what?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
But it may hurt him because I know with a back, like you need to be active.
Yeah.
It may actually hurt him.
Sitting around is not necessarily good for back limberness.
Right. So I got to find out. Does it help him? Would it hurt him? If you can't do that, then yes, I think you could consider the outfield. He doesn't have a lot of experience, but it's amazing he's performing this well, Joe, that we're even having this kind of discussion.
Mind-boggling. I mean, that trade already, that was for Scherzer, right?
Yep,
Wasn't that the
Scherzer?
I mean, that trade may turn out to be one of the all-time steals for this team.
Max Scherzer and a lot of money. Yeah. And it may work out for everybody because the Rangers won the World Series. Right. We got rid of that stiff Max Scherzer, and Acuna looks like a stud in the making. It's
now,
incredible.
How do you feel? Okay, so we got 9 games left. I know we're supposed to talk Jets, but we got to talk about the Mets. 9 games left, tough games, 3 with Philly, the 3 with Atlanta, which are going to be huge, Milwaukee after that. Are we making it or not in your mind?
It's crazy. I think it still comes down to can this team exercise the demons in Atlanta? They got to win that series, bro.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The Mets beat the Phillies last night. Great. Yep. The Braves are about to play the Marlins. We're not getting any freaking help.
Yeah. But they did lose a game to Cincinnati.
No, they did. And they lost a few to the Dodgers, and that's great. They have this 2-game lead. I don't expect any more help this weekend. So they are going to have to go toe-to-toe with the Braves. They got to win that series.
Right.
That's what this whole thing is going to come down to.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with you. I can't. And maybe Arizona comes back to the pack, too. Now, what they already have.
Well, no, they are. Arizona is tied with.
They're tied with the Mets.
With the Mets.
And they have a tough weekend because they're playing the Milwaukee Brewers. So
is that who they're playing?
And the Padres are playing the White Sox, so that's not exactly a lot of help.
But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the Padres and the Diamondbacks have each other.
Yes. So the season
they play
ends.
each other as well? Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The end of the season, those last 3 games, it's Diamondbacks, Padres, and the Padres play the Dodgers next week. So after they're done with the White Sox, it stiffens a little bit.
What you need to happen is the Dodgers to take care of the Padres so that they come back even with everybody, and then those two knock each other off.
Right.
In the last, one of them knocks the other one off.
And ultimately, the Mets win games.
Yeah,
I mean, just keep winning.
Well, I'll tell you right now, all the guys that were not hitting. I mean, Pete all of a sudden now he's hitting home runs. Nimmo, who has had a brutal second half of the year, all of a sudden he looks like he's red hot now. All of a sudden Alvarez, he didn't know home run for months. Now he's got like 4 home runs in the last 6, 7, 8 games, something like that. He's hitting home runs now. You got to throw Acuna in here with what he's doing. Iglesias has been off the charts. Vientos a big home run last night, and the pitching staff. I mean, I think to me, that's the biggest thing. The starting rotation. I mean, I know Severino gave up 3 runs and whatever in 6 innings last night. Still, he wasn't bad. I mean, starting rotation has been just unbelievable. Whoever saw this coming?
That's the most stunning part.
No doubt.
I could see how the offense would be good. I could see how the bullpen would be good. The starting pitching being as dominant as it's been over the last month and a half is the most stunning thing we've seen. Yeah. But they got to finish the job, man. They got 9 games left. Get it done.
I tell you, and if they can get in, man, I think they can do some damage here because they're playing with. I know you don't like that, but they're playing with house money, man. No, this is as big a house money year as we've ever seen for this franchise.
Oh, this was an evaluation year. I said it for 3 months and turned into, hey, man, we're pretty damn good.
Right. I mean, just think about it. This team, what are they now? They're 85 and 68. So there's 17 games on over 500.
Yep.
They are 28 games over 500 since the end of May. Think about that.
Remarkable turnaround. Yeah. So what are you more pumped up about, the Jets at 2-1 or the Mets right now?
I'm pumped up for both. I'm very excited for both teams. I'm very well, tonight we have a live podcast tonight at the Brewing Company tonight with my buddy from the Jets, Jake Asman, who I love. He does a great job. But I don't know if they're going to, because the game's on Apple, right? Stupid Apple.
Apple TV
come
Plus.
on.
I know.
What a disgrace. I mean, here's the last 4 games of the regular season at home, and only one of them is on SNY tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And then if they make the playoffs, that's it. Then we got to deal with the national announcers for the rest of the time. Hey, here's the positive. And I didn't get to hear a lot of it because I'm at the game like you're at the game. We didn't have to hear John Smoltz last night. That's a positive because that was a Fox game last night, the Met win.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Even though it was I guess the Jets were actually on Channel 5.
The Mets were the Fox game, but it got bumped to Channel 9, so the Jets game it was a mess. But it was a great night. It's a good time, rarely, to be a Mets-Jets fan. I can't believe we're saying it's a great time to be alive.
We don't get a lot of those, bro. I mean, and you got to enjoy. Right now, we're enjoying it. But just getting back to the football team, it's all about the health of the quarterback.
Yep.
He's changed everything. If he stays healthy, look, I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say that. But if he stays healthy, to me, there's no way they're not a playoff team. And when you look at the state of the division now, with Tua gone, the Patriots are a disaster. It's basically the Jets and the Bills. I mean, I think that's how it's going to come down to. And there's no reason they can't win it.
Absolutely. Joe, have a great weekend, man. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. All the love.
Thank you, Joe.